Hi guys, my name's Barry and welcome back to the channel. With Terrifier 3 not long to come out, I thought might be best to go into the Terrifier franchise in the lead up to Terrifier 3. Now, I did obviously review Terrifier 2 a couple of years ago. I will be revisiting that as well because I have watched that again for these series of reviews. But first, we have to go back to the beginning with All Hallows Eve from 2013. For those of you who don't know, Terrifier 1 from 2016 isn't the first movie that Art the Clown featured. He featured in an anthology film called All Hallows Eve. Damien Leone did re-release or release around about the same time the short film featuring Art the Clown, and he called it Terrifier. But it was released as part of this anthology as well. And that's what we're going to get into today. This anthology doesn't fully focus on Art the Clown. However, he is one of the main characters in this. There is a wraparound story featuring a babysitter and two young kids who find a VHS tape and they decide to put it on and watch it. And what we're watching is what they're watching throughout the film. And it goes back and forward to them and to then the VHS so that we can kind of keep up with what's happening with this wraparound story. Back in 2013, I think that anthology films were becoming quite popular at the time due to the fact that Trick or Treat that came out in 2008, I know it's a 2007 film, but it came out around about 2008, 2009 in a lot of countries. That became quite popular because of the anthology idea. So films like Tales from Halloween, All Hallows Eve and other anthologies started coming out. And this one was one of the smaller budget ones, probably what you would call a micro budget anthology film. If you put art aside and look at the other stories within this anthology film, I don't think they quite hold up to Art the Clown. I think you've got some like pregnant woman one down in the sewers. That one was okay. But you see some of the inspiration for Terrifier in that scene because you've obviously got the scenario, the area that they're in, and the monster-looking people as well. I think maybe Damien Leone took that inspiration and brought it forward with the Terrifier films. There was also this alien side story as well that I didn't really like. I thought that was the weakest out of them all, and it kind of took me out until we finally got to Art the Clown segment. Art's main story starts just under an hour into the movie, and it's about this young woman who's driving along the highway. She has to stop at a gas station where Art the Clown is arguing with the gas station attendant, and Art kills the gas station attendant, and then for about 15-20 minutes, it's a cat and mouse chase between Art the Clown and this young woman. After he catches this young woman, at the end of this segment, we get what could only be described as an absolutely disgusting end to that segment, and is also a teaser of what's probably going to come next for the Terrifier franchise. The wraparound finishes nicely with Art the Clown coming out of the VHS or coming out of the TV and killing the two young kids in the wraparound segment. I think it was quite fitting that he remained within that wraparound because it did feature at the beginning of one of the VHS segments, as well as having the best segment in the VHS. Mike Gianelli plays Art the Clown in this one. It isn't David Howard Thornton who goes on to play Art in the future films, but I think Mike done a decent job. If you put the All Hallows Eve Terrifier next to the Terrifier films, there's not really much between them in terms of the acting style. I think David Howard Thornton maybe elevates it a little bit better. And obviously with the prosthetics, they get better as the movies go along. So obviously people come to love and adore David Howard Thornton more. And that's probably right. But when it comes back to the All Hallows Eve one played by Mike, I don't think he'd done a bad job. I thought he was okay. Aesthetically, I think it was decent. For a micro-budget anthology series film, I thought they'd done a pretty good job. I liked the score. The score was that 80s synthwave score, and it really adds to what they were trying to achieve in this movie. Ultimately, I never even thought about this, but ultimately All Hallows Eve is a found footage movie because most of the footage that we see is footage that they find on a VHS tape. So ultimately, it is a found footage film. Not the best found footage movie of all time, but I still think it was quite decent for what they had to work with. The kills in this film were absolutely brutal, and if I'm honest, they felt realistic as well. There was times in this film I'm like, how did they manage to do what they done with the budget that they had? I genuinely don't know what budget they had. I'm assuming it's well under $500,000. But with the budget that they had, I think most of the money was spent on the kills because those practical effects were outstanding. For a micro-budget independent horror film, I actually like this film. However, if Art the Clown wasn't in it, or at least that last segment wasn't in the film, I don't think I would like it at all. I think it was quite bland up until that moment. And because we saw Art the Clown sprinkled throughout this film, I was looking forward to seeing his full-on segment, and it didn't disappoint. However, without that segment, I wouldn't have liked the film. But we did get the segment, so I thought the film was pretty decent. So what are your guys' thoughts on All Hallows Eve? Do you think it's a good introduction to Art the Clown? And do you think Art the Clown was the character in this film that deserved his spin-off series, The Terrifier? As always, guys, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you soon.
Meeting adjourned.
I'll be right back.
What are you waiting for, huh?
Coming to get you, Barbara.
Ever played in the cat?
Someone's in the back seat!